And since you mentioned it, of course, the main thing that people connect to the PWI is the 500 list. And how does it work? How do you pick the contenders of that when you decide how to compile this list?
Well, we have a fee to be included in the list, and they said no. That's how some people think.
How much is that fee? I want to be. I'm not a wrestler. I want to be included next year.
Sorry, just make a bio up for yourself. So it's a number of things. We do invite people to submit their name for consideration. We have a form that we put out every year. Before, it was we asked people to send photos and descriptions by mail, and certainly a lot easier now to solicit those things without that. But largely, it's just that we're keeping a close eye on what's happening all year. And then closer to when the evaluation period ends, we will start to compile a preliminary list. We'll each have our own little lists that are going on. And then the committee will come together, again, now remotely for these meetings, and we'll start to put it together. Here's something that was pretty closely guarded secret for a while, but not so much in recent years. We don't do the entire 500 altogether. Certainly the committee sees it, signs off on it, reviews it. But typically we might get through the first 15 to 20% of the list in the first one or two meetings. At a certain point, the person who sort of is the point player for the list, which for many years was Dan Murphy until he stepped away from the magazine last year, will kind of go off and sit, take what the remainder of everyone else's list and like piece them together. And so there really is this kind of team dynamic, and then it becomes almost an individual project, which is not something that people might expect. At a certain point that does happen. Again, it doesn't end there, it comes back. People who have been involved earlier in the process will have a say still, but ultimately somebody needs to be the driver for the list. As far as compiling the list, I mean, we have our criteria out there. That's not a secret. It is, people like to say that it's a kayfabe list, that it's based on in-ring accomplishment, and that is largely true, but it's not exclusively true. That is one of the things, but a wrestler can have a poor win-loss record but be very prominent, and they'll still do pretty well. A wrestler can have a lack of major heavyweight championships, say, but just have such an astounding year in the ring that the technical ability qualification comes into play, and they fare really well. So a prominent example of that, a few years back, Ricochet and Will Ospreay, when they were lighting the world on fire in Japan, in Europe, in the United States, both of them placed in the top 20. Neither had a major heavyweight championship in that year, but their accomplishments were just that good that they were in the top 20. Now, it would have been difficult for them to be number one. And that's where the kayfabe element. The kayfabe element, yeah, the WWEs, AEWs, New Japans of the world, they're more prominent, they're more influential than other promotions in a lot of ways. So just by virtue of that, those wrestlers will have an advantage. And if somebody has a really good year from one of those promotions, they're a lot more likely to be in that top 10, top 5 to win the entire thing.